to part 1 of a 2-part series entitled Beloved Mystic Sufi Poet Hafez. An influential figure in the world of Persian poetry, the beloved mystic and Sufi poet Khorje Shamsuddin Muhammad Hafez Shirazi, more commonly referred to as Hafez, has uplifted the hearts of readers in both the East and the West. From the 14th century to the present day, whether with monarchs or the average civilian, Hafez's words are like a cool springtime breeze that refreshes and replenishes our spirit. Respected British Orientalist Arthur John R. Berry once commented,
Hafez is as highly esteemed by his countrymen as Shakespeare by us and deserves as serious consideration.
Indeed, Hafez's book of poetry, the Divan of Hafez Shirazi, is said to be found in almost every Iranian's home. The poet's pen name, Hafez, is derived from the Persian root word to memorize. He was given the title as he had learned the Quran by heart and could recite the holy book in its entirety. Hafez was born in 1315 AD in the city of Shiraz in Persia or present-day Iran. Shiraz is known as the city of gardens, a place of culture and trade in the southwest of the country. To this day, Shiraz maintains a reputation of being a romantic city where one can get lost in beauty and poetry. Hafez and his father, a merchant named Bahauddin, shared a special bond. When his father used to recite the Holy Quran, Hafez would listen intently, memorizing the sacred texts. But the Quran was not the only work Hafez studied. He had also learned by heart many of the works of his hero, the great Persian poet Sa'di, as well as other literary luminaries such as Atta, Rumi, Khorje Kermani, and Nizami. Sadly, misfortune led to his father's early passing, leaving Hafez, his 2 older brothers, and his mother with much debt. As a result, Hafez and his mother went to live with his uncle. Hafez was then obliged to leave day school to work in a bakery to help make ends meet. The story has it that while delivering baked goods in the wealthy part of town, young Hafez encountered a very beautiful and wealthy maiden who could never reciprocate his burning love. He entered into an intense vigil, and during this time of isolation, Hafez had an inner mystical encounter with a being of unparalleled angelic beauty. Due to this experience, all of Hafez's future attempts at fulfillment were directed at merging with the divine. In the Divan of Hafez Shirazi Ghazal number 152, he wrote,
در ازل پرتو حسنت ز تجلی دم زد عشق پیدا شد و آتش به همه عالم زد.
The city of Shiraz had a reputation as a place of arts and literature since the kings and rulers supported creative writers of the time. Hafez is often considered a court poet as well as a mystic, having received patronage in the city, notably in the court of Abu Ishaq of Shiraz. Some of his poems share the quality of being addressed to a sovereign, although many say that rather than addressing an earthly monarch, he was directing his phrases to the divine Lord. Ultimately, Hafez's poetry intimates that Allah is to be considered as the only reality and all expressions of love as instances of Allah's love and divine beauty. This is an underlying theme in Sufism and spiritual romanticism, a term often used to describe Hafez's works. Sufism is considered a mystical way of approaching the Islamic teachings, striving for a direct experience of Allah through self-purification, training the intuitive and emotional faculties to help in this endeavor. The ecstasy or joy in realizing the divine is often described in Hafez's poetry, which speaks to us with great wit and wisdom from the heart.
آنچه او ریخت به پیمانه و ما نوشیدیم اگر از خمر بهشت است و گر از باده مست خنده جام می و زلف گرهگیر نگار ای بسا توبه که چون توبه حافظ بشکست.
The Divan of Hafez Shirazi
Ghazal number 26.
Hafez's poetry also espoused a spirituality of sincerity, which often presented itself in opposition to puritanical and hypocritical religious behavior.
واعظان کین جلوه در محراب و منبر می کنند، چون به خلوت می روند آن کار دیگر می کنند. مشکلی دارم ز دانشمند مجلس باز پرس، توبه فرمایان چرا خود توبه کمتر می کنند؟ گویا باور نمی دارند روز داوری، کین همه قلب و دغل در کار داور می کنند. The Divan of Hafez Shirazi, Ghazal number 199.
The freedom and play of words in Hafez's poetry shows that he had a joyful sense of humor and was indeed an initiate of a mystic order. Yet he maintained the outer life of a cosmopolitan citizen. Having been married in his 20s, he was a husband and a father, one who was familiar with the knowledge of worldly things such as music, chess, and backgammon. Hafez also often speaks of the need for a spiritual master on the path of God in his work and suggests that he had one himself.
به کوی عشق منه بی دلیل راه قدم، که من به خویش نمودم صد اهتمام و نشد. The Divan of Hafez Shirazi, Ghazal number 168.
There is strong evidence that Hafez made dedicated efforts to meet a spiritual master and kept a 40-day and 40-night vigil at the tomb of Baba Kohi of Shiraz, a little-known Persian Sufi mystic whose classic poem, Only God I Saw, describes a deep connection to Allah.
In the market, in the cloister, only God I saw. In the valley and on the mountain, only God I saw. Him I have seen beside me, oft in tribulation, in favor and in fortune, only God I saw. In prayer and fasting, in praise and contemplation, in the religion of the Prophet, only God I saw. Neither soul nor body, accident nor substance, qualities nor causes, only God I saw. I opened mine eyes, and by the light of his face around me, in all the eye discovered, only God I saw. Like a candle I was melting in his fire, amidst the flames outflashing, only God I saw. Myself with mine own eyes I saw most clearly, but when I looked with God's eyes, only God I saw. I passed away into nothingness, I vanished, and lo, I was the all-living, only God I saw.
Later, Hafez was successful in meeting his spiritual master, Haji Zain al-Attar, who taught private discipline and intense study with sincere communion at dawn, in the evening, and at midnight, rather than regular prayer sessions spoken by rote. Let us now enjoy an excerpt from Hafez's poem, Ghazal number 183.
دوش وقت سحر از غصه نجاتم دادند، و اندران ظلمت شب آب حیاتم دادند. بی خود از شعشعه پرتو ذاتم کردند، باده از جام تجلی صفاتم دادند. چه مبارک سحری بود و چه فرخنده شبی، آن شب قدر که این تازه براتم دادند. بعد از این روی من و آینه وصف جمال، که در آنجا خبر از جلوه ذاتم دادند.
Our deep appreciation for Hafez's poems, which comfort countless souls and help ignite our faith in Allah. We look forward to learning more in the next episode.
No to vegan, because if the future generation burns in the climate's extreme heat, you couldn't care less because you'll also be burnt in hell anyway.
Luminescent viewers, thank you for your gracious presence today.